Hello. So, when we look at the opportunity of getting into one of the top B schools of India, there are predominantly two phases that you focus on. Phase one is basically your entrance exam. Now, that could be CAT, ZAT, IFT, SNAP, NMAT, MHCET, you name it. It could be any of these. Phase two, however, is predominantly the phase which covers what we like to call the personal interview, group discussion, group exercise, written ability test, AWT, whatever you want to call it. This particular phase, which is phase two, is all about you getting a call from the B school basis the entrance exam. But now the onus is on you to go ahead and convert the call. So the way I like to look at this particular stage is stage one is almost like an elimination stage. Why? Think of CAT. There are 2 lakh people who write that exam. Now, out of the 2 lakh people who write that exam, close to, let's look at the IIM. Say I look at IIM Ahmedabad, hypothetically, it's got about 380 to 400 seats. So how many people will it call for the interview? Ratio generally is about 1:3, 1:4, nothing more than that. So at max, say about 1600 people. Out of 2 lakh people, 1600 being called, less than 1%. Hence, this particular stage, which is the entrance exam, is the stage of elimination. They are eliminating out of 2 lakh people and seeing who are the people whom we would like to talk to, whom we would like to have an interaction with, so that we decide whether they're a perfect fit or not. The second stage, GDPI, VAT, AWT, whatever you want to call it, once again, is the stage of selection. Now the onus is on you. The IIMs, the top B schools have all gone ahead and decided, okay, this person is somebody I'm interested in. Yes, I want this person in. But do you want to get in? Do you have what it requires to ensure that you please the panel? Do you have what it requires to go ahead and showcase your passion? That predominantly is phase two. And that is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the PI VAT program. I've categorically gone ahead and called this the PI VAT program mainly for one reason. Why? Almost every institute out there has a personality interview or a personal interview, like you might want to call it, and a written ability test as a part of its shortlisting criteria. Some of the B schools also have group discussions. Most of the IIMs no longer have group discussions. About 7, 8 years back, almost all of them had it. But now, no, that's not the case. But some of the other B schools still have it. IFT still has a group discussion, for example. NMIM still has a case discussion, for example. So there are some institutes which have it. Hence, since that is not a compulsory round, that's not a round which is prevalent everywhere. I've not written GD here, but we will talk about GD as well in this session and as a part of this course. Hence, welcome to this course, the course that is going to deal with stage two, the course that is going to deal with your selection process, not elimination, selection. Now, before I get started, let's look at some important things. Let's look at certain important timelines that you need to focus on. First thing, when is it that the IIMs go ahead and release their shortlist or the top B schools go ahead and release their shortlist? Now, generally, in the first 2 weeks of January, some of this stuff starts. Okay. So you can expect the CAT results to be released somewhere around, say, anywhere between the 2nd or the 3rd of Jan to say about the 8th or the 9th of Jan. The moment CAT results are released, generally within about 48 hours of that, the top IIMs start releasing their calls, which means A, B, C will start releasing their calls, followed soon by Lucknow, Kozhikode, Indore, and so on and so forth. The other colleges like MDI, FMS releases its calls later, but MDI would also end up releasing its calls within, say, 2 weeks of the CAT results being announced. Hence, this entire process kickstarts in and around this time period, which means the core time period that you're looking at it somewhere around the 5th to the 10th of Jan. In this time period, the process kickstarts. Once the process has kickstarted, you will have no time to breathe. You won't even know what has hit you. Why? Because the personal interview rounds generally start very soon after. If you look at the screen right now, you'll see the personal interviews actually go ahead and start generally in the first week of Feb. Now imagine if the CAT results come out, say, around the 6th or the 7th of Jan, and say the IIMs release their first shortlist by, say, around the 8th or the 9th of Jan. That means if your interviews around the 2nd or the 3rd of Feb, you basically have just 3 weeks to prep. 3 weeks for probably the most important interview of your life till date. Is that enough? Is the question that generally comes up. It may or may not be, depending upon whether you have the right strategy in place, whether you have the right support system in place or not. Okay. So, as I pointed out, personal interviews, first week of Feb is when it kickstarts. It continues for a long period of time. When I look at it from the timeline of our course, till where will we be there to go ahead and support you? These interviews will start right from the first week, and generally they go on till about the end of March, or probably say about the third week of March. Couple of the interviews might even be in April, so we'll be there with you throughout. The entire timeline of the course is going to be in sync with when the interviews go. As you can see on your screen, most of the interviews generally end around the 26th, 27th of March. But even if it continues beyond that, we'll be with you. We are there to support you in this entire process, because I keep repeating, it's a selection process. Onus is on us, onus is on you. We need to work hard. And I'll constantly keep saying it's we. It's not just you. We are your support system. We are here to guide you. We are here to ensure that you go ahead and crack that top B school. Okay. Before I get into what the course entails, before I get into why this part is important, let us see what is the selection criteria for the top IMs and the top B schools. Okay, so let's kickstart. I have a lot of B schools to cover, some 25, 30 that I've named. I won't spend time on all of those, but I will actually focus on few out of those so that it helps you understand why this particular round and this particular stage is very important. Let's look at IM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Calcutta. Just look at the criteria for the final selection. This is not a criteria for shortlist. This is the criteria for final selection to be accepted into a program at these institutes where you'll go ahead and study. Look at the weightage to personal interview. Ahmedabad states 50, Bangalore states 30, Calcutta states 48, which is almost 50. That means almost 50% weightage for Ahmedabad and Calcutta, and almost 30% weightage at Bangalore is to your personal interview. Add VAT to that, or AWT, whatever you want to call it. There's about 10% here, there's about 10% here. That's a lot. That's a lot of weightage. Exam score 25, 25, and 30. That means the CAT score is probably not as important as your personal interview. So, some of y'all who might be thinking, I've just got in by a whisker. The cutoff for IIM Calcutta was 99.65. I've got 99.65. Just managed to get a call. Still, 48% of the weightage is going to be here. Only 30% of the weightage you'll end up scoring lesser than few others. But when it comes to 48%, if you can beat somebody by 5-6 marks here, say hypothetically you score a 40 on 48, somebody else scores a 34, 35, you've made up a lot of gap. You've made up a humongous gap. Between a 99.65 and a 99.85 would be about this much, and you made that gap up. Hence, this becomes very, very important, and personal interview is where you'll go out and make all the difference. In addition to that, there are certain other things. For example, there's an AR rating of 15% at Ahmedabad, where they look at 10, 12 undergrads and various other things. For example, look at Bangalore. The weightage to class 10, 10%, weightage to class 12 is 5%, bachelor's is 10%, work experience 10. So you add all of that, that's about 35%. Now, the only thing in your control, and I'm going to change the color that I can focus a little bit on that. The only thing in your control is going to be this area, because everything else is done. It's done and dusted. You can't change your CAT score. You can't. You can't change your class 10, 12 undergrad score. You can't change your gender. No gender diversity points. You're not going to go there. And you really can't go ahead and change whether you're an engineer or non-engineer. So no academic diversity points that are changing. Hence, the only thing in your control is PI and VAT for these colleges. For certain others, it could be PI, it could be VAT, it could be GD, it could be extempore, and so on and so forth. But here it's predominantly this, which basically means that this is the part you concentrate on. Forget everything else. It's not in your control. If somebody else is already 8-10 points ahead of you on the scale of 100, then you need to make up these 8-10 points here in the PI, VAT, extempore, GD part. And in this particular in these particular colleges, it's predominantly PI and VAT. Okay. Let's look at the other colleges. The next two, Lucknow and Indore. Once again, you will see, look at your PI weightage. Once again, it goes to about 40%. That's humongous. 40%. VAT 10 to 20. That means PI plus VAT is anywhere around 50 to 60%. Again, the weightage is very, very high. Let's look at Kozhikode and Raipur. Once again, Kozhikode is seeing 44% there in PI and 35% at Raipur. This resume score in Kozhikode, they call it a resume. At the end of the day, what they turn around and do is they ask you to make a simple CV, but they also ask you for a VAT. They also ask for that. So actually, it will be 44 plus some more, almost 50% weightage on the things that we've been talking about. Look at the other colleges, okay? Look at some of the top non-IIMs. Look at FMS Delhi and SP Jain. We know SP Jain only has 2 rounds of group interviews, group personal interviews, nothing else. So if you've gotten a call and the cutoffs are generally at a very, very low percentile, 85 percentile, and you've cleared the sectionals, you'll get a call. If your CV is good, if your profile is good, you'll get a call. But how do you convert that? Only to PIs, elimination PI. That also, the first round is an elimination round. Second round, if you crack it, great, you're in. As simple as that. So almost all weightage after getting the call, almost all 100% weightage is here, nothing else. FMS Delhi, look at it, 50% weightage is to the exam score. The maximum weightage after the exam score is to your PI. Add extempore to that, that's 20%. So 20% of the weightage is here. Once again, in things which are in your control. Look at some of the other non-IIMs. MDI, XLRI, once again, very, very important. MDI has not divulged how much. XLRI has not divulged how much. But generally, if you go and see, you will always realize that close to, and this is me, giving you a ballpark, for MDI, it will be somewhere around 35 to 45% weightage to this round 2. For XLRI, once again, it will be about 30 to 40% weightage to round 2. XLRI, that score is very, very important. So that will also play a part. So, those who've gone ahead and scored a 98.5 plus, 99 plus, they're slightly more comfortable. However, I know students who've gone ahead and converted at 95, 96 percentile as well. Why? Because they had a great PI. That's where they go ahead and ace it. So please keep that in mind. Let's look at others. NITI, IIT Bombay, for example, SJSOM. So let's look at that. Once again, NITI is not diverged, but look at Bombay, 40% here. As simple as that. So you can see, every college that I can think of, IIT Delhi, IFT, if I start talking about, I'll talk about exactly the same thing. Look at IFT. Look at this part. Once again, 40%. Exam score is 45. So it's almost as important as the exam. IIT Delhi has not divulged. You look at JBIMS, NMIMS, same. NMIMS, what all do we know? We know it's got a PI. It's not got a GD. It's got a CD. It's got a case discussion. Along with that, it's also got, sometimes they ask you to go ahead and write a VAT as well. And there is an exam score. So all of this is basically taken into consideration. So whichever college I'm looking at it, and few more, if I'm looking at say TIS and IRMA, I'm looking at MICA, I'm looking at SIBM Pune, everywhere, just look at this for TIS, 70%. Look at it for IRMA, 40%. Look at it for MICA, you'll see 50%. Look at it here for SIBM Pune, once again 50%. There's a group exercise that gets thrown in as well. What is a group exercise? Nothing. They'll ask 5 of you all to come together and they'll give you some simple exercise. They'll give you, say, some blocks here and they'll say, okay, make movie names out of that. They'll give you 2 chart papers and they'll ask you to do something around that. So very interesting exercises. And we'll give you examples of that in our earning sessions as well. So irrespective of the college, irrespective of the type of college, whether it's an IIM, whether it's a non-IIM, whether the exam to get into the college is CAT, whether it's ZAT, whether it's IFT, whether it's NMAT, whether it's SNAP, whatever it is. Every single college, you're seeing the weightage to this stage 2 is very, very high. In some cases, more than even the weightage to the entrance exam. In some cases, equivalent to that. Last couple of colleges to look at, SCMHRD, 50% here again. IMT Ghaziabad, once again, it will be important. You might get calls for as low as 90, 92 percentile in the third or the fourth list. But to convert that, you need to have a great interview. So that's where, the entire focus is. And hence, I constantly keep stating the question on why. Why do I need to prep so much for an interview is this. Because the exams and the preparation that you've had for the exams only get you to this stage, the stage of getting a call. Now it's about converting the call. This entire effort was about converting. It's almost like look at it from a cricket perspective, okay? Great, you win bilateral tournaments. Great, you're number one in the ICC rankings. But if you're not winning the World Cup, if you're not winning the T20 World Cup, if you're not winning the World Test Championship, what's the fun? What's the fun? And what happened? Eventually, we are turning around and seeing that, probably a captain has been replaced by somebody else because that particular captain wasn't winning the tournaments. Hence, that is exactly what happens. Which is the day on which you need to go ahead and perform? And this is that day. This is the day you need to go ahead and perform. Okay. So the performance is for us is 2-step. One, it is to get the call. It is to get into the World Cup final. This has gotten me to the World Cup final. The exams have gotten me to the World Cup final. Now is about winning this World Cup final. And this is my last ditch effort. This is where I'm going to go ahead and put in everything to convert this call. Cool. Now, what is it that this course is going to have? Now that we've understood the importance of this particular part, let's see what the course is going to have. Now, the course is predominantly going to have 6 things that I can go ahead and outline. The things that you are tested on. What is it that the IIMs and the top B school will ask you? Well, they'll try to identify your strengths and weaknesses. They will try to understand what is, how is it that you should go ahead and, Can you go ahead and explain a little bit about who you are, what you've done, why should you be selected, why should you not be selected? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? And that little bit about yourself shouldn't be, I have I've got parents, I've got siblings, and this is where I'm from, this is what I do. That's boring. Can you make it a little more interesting? Can you talk about things which you know they will pick up, and basis that they will cross question you, and then they will go in a particular direction that you want the interview to go to? Hence, what will be your customized approach to ace the GDPI and VAT? That's something that this course will entail. Present the real you in GDPI. That's most important. People generally, in Hindi, there's this word mukhota, or in English, they call it mask. People generally feel that they need to be masked when they go in for an interview. They can't show their real self. That's incorrect. Show your real self. Your real self has gotten you this far. Your real self will be something that will help you crack that interview. But how to showcase that real self is something we'll help you with. Can it be slightly polished? You might have the best possible furniture. This could be the best possible furniture here. But if the furniture edges are very, very sharp, each time you walk, you brush across it, you'll get hurt. So can we polish it and ensure that the edges are smooth? The answers are smooth. There's something that is going to attract the panel. There's something that is going to appease the panel. And there's something that is going to make the panel think, okay, this person's interesting. I want to know more. I want to ask more. I want to talk more. That's the fun. Okay. Next, your life story. One of the most important questions that generally comes up, and that's how most of the interview start is, or say if somebody's taking my interview, be like, hi Gautam, good afternoon. Can you tell me something about yourself? And I'll be like, yes, I want to talk about myself. Who will know about me more than me? And this is where I want to start. And if I can make this interesting, if I can go ahead and help them feel, wow, this guy's spoken about something which is different. This guy's told me things which nobody has spoken about. If I can lead them into specific directions. For example, what are the things I like? I like criminology. I like cricket. I like math. If I can somehow in my introduction bring in all of this, make a great story, make it appealing, and get them to move in these 2-3 directions, or even one of these 3 directions, I know that the interview is going in the direction that I want, in the path that I want. The chance for success is higher. It's not that you'll always be successful, the probability of success is higher, and that's the game plan. Okay, so can you present your life story in the best way possible? Next, get a new perspective about yourself. Sometimes while talking to us, when we grill you and we'll cross question, Acha, why did this happen? Why did you behave like this in this sort of a situation? Actually, you're saying this is your strength, this is your weakness. Are you sugarcoating a strength as a weakness? Why are you doing that? What? So it helps you understand and pinpoint certain issues. It helps you understand, oh, I didn't realize this is actually a strength of mine. This is what I could go ahead and do. Hence, get a new perspective about yourself. That is something that this course will entail. And finally, it will help you realize that B school dream of yours. And that is exactly what we are sitting here for. Can we help you get to that dream college of yours? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the course. There are predominantly two kinds of courses. If you're seeing this, you're probably a part of the course already. There are two kinds. One is the basic program. What does the basic program entail? The 10 asynchronous sessions. This is the first asynchronous session. It's an introduction. There are 9 more to come. They will revolve around personal interview, about 5 of them. 4 to 5 of them, and about 4 to 5 of them will revolve around VAT, GDA, WT, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's predominantly 10. 5 synchronous sessions, once again, live sessions, which I'll take and Srinivas will take, the two of us. We'll talk about, once again, interviews, how to crack them, what are some of the questions that come up, how can you tackle those questions. If you're thrown into the deep end of the pool and don't know what to do, how do you handle yourself and how do you get out of it unscathed? Those kind of things we'll pick up. We'll talk about GD, we'll talk about VAT, we'll talk about AWT, and we'll talk about something very, very interesting, which is brain teasers. Sometimes colleges do ask that. They go ahead, they give you a brain teaser. Sometimes they give you a question of maths where they ask you to go ahead and solve something. So we'll have a couple of sessions around brain teasers and puzzles and so on and so forth as well. In addition to that, there'll be one mock interview. This mock interview will be taken among the faculty and so on and so forth, everybody. Okay. However, there is another program that's no longer a basic program. That's a slightly personalized program. It's a program with personalized mentoring included. So the biggest thing that you get in this program is you get a personalized mentor. And there are just 2 mentors in this program. That's Srinivas and me. So hypothetically, if you're a non-engineer, say eco honors, stats honors, math honors, whatever, some honors, BCom honors, and BBA and so on and so forth, you'll probably get me. If you're an engineer, you'll probably get Srinivas. So we've kind of bifurcated it amongst ourselves. So you have interviews. So I end up becoming a personalized mentor. Srinivas ends up becoming a personalized mentor. The biggest advantage, we sit down with you, we talk about your autobiography, we understand your life story, we help you answer the questions, the important HR questions of why you, your strengths, weaknesses, where should you be in, or where will you find yourself in your 5, 10, 20 years, and so on and so forth. Why MBA? Why this college? All of those questions that generally come up. We help you identify, what your personalized answer should be. No faking, no nothing, but your answer, how you should go ahead and approach that. In addition to that, all the B school forms that you'll have, the answers that you'll fill in there, we'll help you with that. We'll review them, we'll give you feedback so that you can come up with the best possible thing. There'll be 3 mock interviews in this program, in the personalized mentorship program, once again between the two of us. So you get a real life IM alum to go through that, take you through those interviews. People who've been there, done that, who have a little bit of experience, who've mentored 5, 10,000 kids over the course of the last 6, 7, 10 years. They come ahead and they help you. In addition to that, this part remains the same, which is the 10 asynchronous session and the 5 synchronous session, same as the basic program. And finally, one VAT correction and also current affair resources. So one VAT of yours will be corrected by the faculty here. There'll be feedback, there'll be pointed feedback in terms of how you can improve, what changes you can make, and also specific inputs given regarding current affair resources, which you can look at so that you prep yourself for the interviews in case you ask questions. And Koi Code and Indore and all are, well known. Lucknow, they ask certain questions on geography and polity and civics and so on and so on, which you need to be aware of. So it becomes very important. So these are the two predominant, courses that you can look at. And I'm sure if you're going through this video, you've gone into one of those, hopefully. And, if you're in the second one, hopefully, fingers crossed that you'll probably have me as your mentor and we'll have some good fun. But getting slightly deeper into what the asynchronous and synchronous sessions are going to have in store. So let's look at that. So as I said, 2 parts, asynchronous, synchronous. Asynchronous means recorded and synchronous means live. So these are the 2 kinds of sessions. Let's look at what they will be. The first one, introduction, like we're talking about today, know about the PI how will PI code help you, tips and tricks to grow your personality. That's predominantly what we're talking about. This part we'll actually pick up in the PI session, the personality interview session, okay, or the personal interview session. Then what are the other sessions that we'll have? We'll have interview PI sessions. What is it that I'll go ahead and cover in that? All of this will be taken by me. We'll talk about autobiography. How do you write an autobiography? What are the things to focus on? How do you pinpoint on it? How do you identify the important things from your, so on and so forth? How do you answer the why? Why me? Why this B school? Why this course? Why MBA? Why at this point in time? All of those whys, how do you answer them? We'll talk about that. There'll be a session on that. Strengths and weaknesses. How do you identify your strengths and weaknesses? What is the process to follow? What should you do? Should you sugarcoat a strength as a weakness? Is that the right way to go about it? So on and so forth. Work experience of fresher session, because there could be different kinds of interviews. If you're a person with 2, 3 years of a lot of your interview could focus on the projects you've done there, learnings that you've had from there, incidents that you faced there, and so on and so forth. If you're fresher, then you haven't faced so many incidents, you haven't experienced so much, so your interview could be slightly more academic, slightly more HR oriented. So what is the difference in these 2 kinds of interviews? How to approach them, how to prep for them? We'll talk about that. And finally, B school form filling sessions. What are the important questions to keep in mind? How do you fill them up, and so on and so forth? So that's predominantly what the PI or interview sessions will entail. Then we've got GD and VAT sessions as well. Once again, we'll talk about group discussion concepts. What are the concepts to keep in mind? How do you go ahead and ensure that you enter into a group discussion at least twice or thrice, make valid points? How do you build up on points? How do you think of examples? Is there a specific mnemonic to keep in mind basis which you can do that? Extempore session. How is it that you can go ahead and I give you a random topic, talk about it for 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes? What are the things to think of? Can you once again have some sort of a model which you can follow, basis which you can keep jumping from one type of concept that you're talking about to another type of topic, and so on and so forth? So those kind of things. VAT concepts and topics, very similar to group discussion, similar model that we will use, but in one you need to express while talking, in the other you need to express by writing. So how do you do that? What should be the structure, and so on and so forth? And finally, AWT concepts and practice. This is specifically for people who will get an IIM Ahmedabad call. How do you go ahead and structure an AWT? How do you write it? Okay. Finally, what will be the synchronous sessions all about? Well, there are going to be 5 synchronous sessions, once again taken by the top faculty. Srinivas and me will predominantly go ahead and take that. In addition to that, Saral, Nasha, you might have heard of him. I'm sure you've been taught by Saral sir as well, by many of you all. He'll be taking the brain teaser sessions, in the personality growth program that we have. So in the 5 additional sessions, we are basically looking at 2 brain teaser sessions. We're looking at form filling sessions. We're looking at sessions on personal interview, sessions on GD, VAT, and AWT. Predominantly that, okay? So as I said, the sessions that I've already gone ahead and pointed out, yep, already pointed them out. These brain teaser sessions I pointed out earlier as well. This is almost like puzzles. This is going to be very, very important because this is asked in many colleges. So keep your eyes out, keep eyes open, ears open, and so on and so forth. We'll also try to ensure there are a couple of knowledge sessions as well on important topics. COVID, its economic impact in other cases. Omicron variant, what does it mean? Whenever a new variant comes up, how does the economy react to that? All of those kind of things which might come up. Which economies have handled it well, which haven't, which have handled it well politically, which haven't, which have handled it well socially, which haven't. Just a simple COVID topic that I picked up, and there are multiple aspects to look at it. And similarly, you can look at it, multiple aspects for other topics as well. So that's something that we'll look at from a perspective of 2 or 3 sessions. This will predominantly be once again in the enhanced with personal personal mentoring program. Okay, finally, the personal mentoring with the IM alums, it will specifically be, for very, very specific B schools. There are only 10 B schools for which you can go. If you're getting calls from these B schools, you can enroll for that program, which means the program with personalized mentoring with Srinivas or me. What are those B schools? Well, we know the IMs, IM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, FMS, Lucknow, Kozhikode, Indore, obviously, MDI, SPGen, and XLRI. So if you get calls from these top 10 institutes, only then can you go ahead and enroll for this. This specific program. You'll need to upload your call letter to see whether you're eligible or not. If you are, then you can go ahead and enroll in this. And as I said, it will be a very, very hardcore, program wherein it will be personalized completely, and it will be just about you and me, or Srinivas and you, and as simple as that. It's about ensuring you get your call, as simple as that. Finally, it's about going ahead and seeing, if you can get personalized mentors to go ahead and help you with that course. And what is it that the personal mentors will do? Something that I've already gone ahead and discussed. We'll talk about your autobiography. We'll talk about the B school form filling and feedback, answering core HR questions. We'll talk about post-interview discussion and feedback, and we'll have 3 mock interviews. So there is loads to do. And if you all are wondering who are going to be the mentors, I've repeated it twice already. Let me do it for the 3rd time. Yes, it's going to be yours truly. I'm going to be there. I'm an IIM Calcutta alum. I've predominantly mentored close to about 7 to 8,000 students over the last 6 to 7 years. More than that, on a personalized mentoring thing, I've been mentoring close to about 150 students every year for the last 6-7 years. So that's close to about, about 800,000 students, 90% of whom have made it to, the IIMs. The others have made it to the other B schools as well. And my predominant, focus is helping students from a non-engineering background. It becomes slightly difficult for them because the expectations are slightly higher from them, because those courses and subject that they've already studied is something that's going to be focused on, in the interviews as well. For example, economics, financial management, if you've done BCom, then accountancy, and so on and so forth. Those questions do come up. Statistics, mathematics, they do come up. So, I generally go ahead there. Second is Srinivas, who's from IIM Indore. He's got a very similar background as well. He predominantly focuses on the engineering students. He gives them quite good inputs and insights and helps them crack the interview. Predominantly, this course, what we're looking at is just the top 100 students from these top B schools whom we'll cater to, 50 whom I'll mentor, 50 whom Srinivas will mentor. And the objective is simple. Can we help ensure these 100 students to crack these top 10 B schools and ensure that their dream comes true? So that's about it in terms of the program. There's just one thing, to wrap this all up. I just wanted to give you all, a couple of questions and a couple of problems to think a little bit out of the box. Think of them as simple brain teasers, level 0, not even level 1, but simple brain teasers which you might have come across, on any day. These are not the kind of questions will come up in our brain teaser sessions, but this is just an example of why I say that you constantly need to think out of the box, think different. Don't do things the way everybody else does it. Let's have a simple example. What you see here is, you see a simple Roman expression, right? 4, 1v is equal to 3 plus 3. And they're telling you, you need to remove just one line to make this false statement a true statement. So what will you do? Which line will be removed? Remove just one line to make this false statement a true statement. That's it, nothing else. Well, pause this video if you're thinking. Don't go ahead and jump to the conclusion or jump to an answer, but I'll give you the answer. Pause this video for now. If the way I would go ahead and do it is very, very simple. One line needs to change. Look at the right hand side. The right hand side is 3 plus 3, which is 6. So how do I convert 4 to 6? Well, move this here, which means this becomes 6. So 1v becomes v1, as simple as that. So 6 is equal to 3 plus 3, and you've got in your answer. As simple as that. Easy peasy, not too much, not too difficult to think about. Let's look at the next one. There's another problem that I'm going to throw up. Move a single line so that the false arithmetic statement becomes true. One single line, so that the false arithmetic statement becomes true. Once again, think. The first example was simple. 4 became 6, so it became easy. Look at the right hand side here. It's 6. Pause the video if you're thinking about it. Pause it, okay? But to others who've already gotten it, great. Let's look at it. Right hand side is 6, left hand side is 3. Left hand side, what can I do? I can move 1 and, you know, something like this. This doesn't help me, it's nothing. I can do this. This doesn't help me, it's nothing. I can do this and bring the third one here. That remains just 3. So left hand side, I can't do anything. There's nothing to do. Right hand side, I start thinking what to do. Once again, this 3, there's not a lot I can do. 3, not a lot I can do. So the change can't be here. Now think out of the box. What are the other things remaining? You got an equal to remaining and a plus remaining. Equal to, there are two parallel lines. Max I could have done is these two parallel lines. I can make it one like this and one like that. It becomes plus. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 doesn't help. But this gives me an idea. Can this plus be changed? I have one like this and one like this. What about changing this from a vertical to a horizontal, which means you get 1 and this also becomes 1. 1, 1. That means the plus has suddenly become equal to, and you've gone ahead and you've become 3 is equal to 3 is equal to 3. As simple as that. Possible, right? That's all that there is to it. So this is called thinking outside the box. The answer always isn't in the numbers. Sometimes it's just in the plus and the equal to's. And that is what we're going to focus on throughout this course. The answer might not always be in the most evident thing or the things that you've heard about till date. The answer might be in the smallest thing which you felt was not needed, was insufficient, was not important enough to be paid heed to, but probably that is what will get you through. That's about it from my end for this particular session. Hope you understood what this program is going to entail, how this program is going to help you, and why GDPI VAT is probably the most important part of getting into the B school, because that's the only thing that is in your control any longer. That's it from my end. See you again very, very soon in the next session. Ciao for now. Bye bye.